Assalamu alaikum, hello and welcome Construction World, Chris James from Oryx Consulting. Look, it's been a while since I've done one of these videos, but there's been for good reason. I've been travelling around the USA and once I got back to the UAE here, which has been around 2 weeks now, there's been quite a lot of catching up to do. So I thought I'd do a video recapping my little experiences and what I found in the USA while I was over there. So let's get into it.
Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I spent 6 weeks in total in the USA. I left here on December the 11th, mid-December, and left the USA on January 30th. So I did a little bit of R&R. It's been quite some time since I have had a bit of a vacation, so I was thoroughly enjoyed with that, or thoroughly pleased I should say about that, and had my first white Christmas, so that was quite an experience. I enjoy the cold weather in short spells, and it didn't really bother me that much, but it's kind of like the heat over here. It's one of those things that you're not exposed. If you're not exposed to it all day every day out in it, then it's not so bad. So look, my heart goes out to all those people that have to be in that all day every day. Okay, so I wanted to touch base on the trip that I did. I took a trip from Ohio, where we were up in the north, and we worked our way all the way down to Austin in Texas, and then across to West Texas. We went out to Odessa and Kermit. Then we went up to Denver in Colorado, and then back to Ohio. So the trip in total took us, what was it? It was 4,160 miles we did, and I decided to drive, and I'll tell you the reason for that. Obviously, aeroplane travel right now is, look, you can have your own ideas on it, my ideas on it. It's ridiculous. It really is. It's a pain in the backside, and I won't go into all of the the do's, the don'ts, and all of this. But it was an aggravation that I didn't particularly want to put up with. So I decided to go back old school and get on the road again. It was absolutely fantastic, and the reason why I love getting on the road, and look, I love a good road trip anyway, so that goes without saying for me. But on the road, when you see something, you have the ability to stop, go on and do a little bit of investigation, introduce yourself. We saw some people that were doing some pipe work on the side of the road, and we went and introduced ourselves and gave them a card, and you never know if anything's going to happen from it, but it certainly gives you the opportunity to go and do that. Now, we get so wrapped up in the world these days that we jump onto a plane, or we get to the airport, we get to the lounge, we open up our computers, we do what we need to do, we get onto a plane, we fly somewhere, we get off, we have the meeting, we get back to the lounge, we open up our computer, and it's deja vu. It's just a Groundhog Day all the time. And to take a step back, get on the road, and go to, I'll say old school, it was absolutely fantastic. And really at the end of the day, it suited us, and I'm not going to say that suits everyone doing that type of thing, but it's certainly for what we wanted to do, just to go and see some clients, put a lot of faces to names on people that we've been networking with, and got a pretty good connection going with on things like LinkedIn and some Instagram connections as well. So for us, it worked out really, really well. We could take our time, and if we stopped somewhere to meet someone and they told us about a specific place or a job or something like that, we had the ability to deflect, move, pivot, go and see that particular project or those particular people and come back. So here's a bit of a recap of what we did. We left Ohio, so up in the north, the mid-north of Ohio, and we went down to Tulsa. When we got to Tulsa, we caught up with Andy Solomon. Andy runs, for those that don't know in the pipeline industry, Andy runs Challenger Services. So Challenger Services, they rent pipeline equipment. They also convert the old pipe layers, mechanical pipe layers, to a hydraulic conversion. They build some ROP structures for the old machines as well, the old pipe layers as well. They rent bending machines, they overhaul pipeline equipment. They design some specific pipeline equipment like the pipe haulers that probably some of you that follow along saw I posted on. So they have some on rubber tracks that they're just a big jinker, for want of a better word, that haul the pipe into some pretty bad and snotty kind of areas. They also have the ones with the big balloon tyres. I took quite a few photos and posted quite a few photos of those balloon tyre ones. It's something that I haven't seen being used across here in the deserts, whether that be Saudi or down in Abu Dhabi, here in the Emirates, Oman, anywhere. I mean, they're a really capable unit for getting the pipe into some of these big desert areas, and they can certainly handle some pretty high tonnage as well. So really cost-effective kind of units. You put those behind, say, a 6x6, plenty of 6x6 Mercedes-Benz MANs, things like that over here, so with the balloon tyres on them, and you'll get some pipe into some pretty crazy places. Andy deals a lot in some used pipeline equipment as well. Just a really good resource for the pipeline industry. He's got some, the old pipe facing machines, and he's got a lot of knowledge in that region. So look, if you don't know Andy from Challenger Services, do yourself a favour, make yourself known to him, reach out to us. We'll be happy to hook you up with Andy. He's a really good guy, and been in and around the industry for forever. Good guy. After we left Andy, that was it was probably about close to a 3.5 hour visit with Andy, I think it was. After that, we ended up with Jim Solomon. Now, Jim is actually, he's, I'll call him a bit of a grandfather of the pipeline industry. I've known of Jim for many, many, many years, and when I worked with a pipeline company in Australia, we worked with Jim disposing of some of our old pipeline equipment, and that's what Jim does now. Jim no longer drives. He's well and truly past retirement age, but like as Jim calls it, retirement is relaxing and doing something that you enjoy. And like Jim says, that's exactly what he's doing now. So he trades a lot in pipeline equipment, so used pipeline equipment all over the place, but primarily a lot of it comes from the USA. But look, Jim deals with, like I say, people from Australia, Southeast Asia, Middle East, Central Asia, South America, Central America. Jim's all over the place, so really good, another really good resource to have. So that's what we did when we were in Tulsa. From Tulsa we drove down into Texas the next day. Texas, we got into up into the north there. We caught up with a guy that we met on Instagram, a guy by the name of HCS Finlay. Hoss, how you doing, buddy? It was a catch up at a truck stop, and it was fantastic. You kind of put these the faces to the names that you meet online, but it wasn't just someone that we met. We've had quite a few dialogues with Hoss over the years now, I suppose. And he's been in and around trenching machines, probably almost as long as what I have. So, another really great resource, and a good guy in that area to kind of know. So, we had a couple of cups of coffee there, and we shot the shit for a bit, and it was fantastic. It was just really good to have a little bit of a chill and a little bit of a catch up more than anything else with Hoss. There was nothing that we offered Hoss, and there was nothing that Hoss offered us, apart from just growing the network a little bit more. That's what all of this is all about. That was up in kind of North Texas, I suppose you'd call it. Well, I would call it up in the north there. We left the north there. We went down to Austin, Texas. We spent a few days, I think it was 2, maybe 3 days in Austin, but we caught up with some really, really good guys down there. First of all, Daniel Yates is a young guy starting out with his. He's getting along now. He's cracking along now with his social media or construction media company, if you will. It was great. We had a really good catch up with Daniel. It's just good to see a guy in the industry who's trying to help, you know. Daniel's reached out on multiple occasions just to ask questions, you know, and I really enjoy that. I enjoy someone who's young, enthusiastic, and wants to learn. So we had a really great, just, you know, a spitball session, as I call it, and we bounced a few ideas to try and help Daniel and help grow his audience, but also some things for us and him possibly that we might be able to work with in the future. I mean, our main focus is helping customers, you know, build a better project, as we say. You know, we want to help them reduce waste. We want to help them get, you know, make some more money and save more money. Is our end goal. So anything that we can do to get that message out there and stop the waste in the construction industry, then I'm all for it, you know. So Daniel's a really great resource. He's all ears. He's open. He's willing to learn, and, you know, yeah, we've been given 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So that was really good. Daniel, top guy. You're going to go places, mate, so all the very best with everything that you do, and if we can help you along the way with any information, because that's all we can give you, it'd be a pleasure, an absolute pleasure. We then caught up with Jeff and Don. They're based in Austin in Texas, and they deal in used trenching machines. So they've been around for a long time, and been around trenches longer than I have, and really great resources. Jeff is, you know, both Jeff and Don are just gentlemen of the industry. They really are. Jeff has a black book of contacts with trenching equipment all around the world, you know, and that's how I actually met Jeff. He reached out, I think it was, he reached out last year. Could have been the year before, sorry, but yeah, it was everything sort of blends into one these days. But he reached out just looking for some large trenches and things like that, and we kind of hit it off, and we inspected a machine for Jeff. And it's just grown from there. They're just really good guys, and it was great again to put the face to the name, and I reckon we spoke about world events and trenching machines for a good 4 hours there over lunch. It was fantastic, you know. One of those things where you just don't want it to end, because you just enjoy the conversation, you enjoy the people, and again, really good guys, gentlemen of the industry, really focused in what they do. They're very focused just in the trenching and surface mining realms, and that's where they help their customers, you know. And having that network and their database all around the world, including ourselves now, you know, recently, it's really good to be a part of that and to try and help them and their customers wherever we can. So look, Jeff and Don, pleasure meeting you guys, and I'm sure that we'll continue to do some pretty great work together in the future. Now, I'll call it one of the best meetings that we had on the trip, and that's not to disregard any of the other meetings or anything like that. We met Benjamin. Now, Benjamin's from Global Contractors. Benjamin is he's a salt of the earth kind of guy. You know, Benjamin reached out some time ago. He was looking to do some work over here in the Middle East region. And he just reached out for some advice, you know. He just wanted some help. He just wanted to get a little bit more knowledge before he delved into the realms of tackling some work over here. And in my books, that's number one. Get as much information as you can to make an executive decision on what it is that you need to do. So look, we finally put a face to the name with Benjamin, and we caught up for hours and hours, and we spoke about everything from world events to pipelines to renewable energy and all those kinds of things. And you know, it was one of those meetings where you connect with someone. Those of you who have that and know that, you don't get it very often, if at all, you know. And Benjamin was one of those guys that we just connected with. We have the same values, kind of like ourselves and Anas from MHJ here in Dubai. Just a guy that we connected with, same values, wants the same things out of, you know, projects, production, all those kinds of things. How can we make things better? How can we use technology? How can we be different in doing what we do? So Benjamin runs a company. They do a lot of pipeline projects, underground infrastructure, if you will. He's based out of Louisiana. I believe they have an office in Houston, in Texas as well. So look, it was fantastic to meet with Benjamin. There'll be plenty more between Benjamin and ourselves coming up in the future, no doubt about it. Really great guy, salt of the earth, wants to make an impact, wants to make a difference, and at the end of the day wants to build a really great project for his clients, but make some money in the process as well. So look, hats off to Benjamin. Looking forward to what the future's got hold for both of us in that space there. We left there and we started driving up to Odessa. Now, I've been to Texas before, quite some time, many times I should say, but I've never been there when it snowed. And although we had some snow up in the north, and I had, like I say, the White Christmas and all of that, it was very, very different to see West Texas under snow. I think the day that we left, we had it was 8 inches of snow on our drive out to Odessa, so that was pretty interesting. Certainly they don't maintain the roads snow-wise like they do up in the north, so there was some hairy areas there, but that was okay. But we met up with Chris Maxwell and Chris and Amy. Okay, Chris and Amy have been working in and around trenching equipment and pipelines for forever. Again, just two salt of the earth people, just really, really nice people, great guys, and we caught up over a lunch, quite an extended lunch I should say, but it was great. It was another one of those conversations that you just don't want to end. We spoke mainly about trenching, but also trenching for cable work with the wind farms. One of the things that we noticed, or I noticed in particular, was the amount of wind farms that are out in that region, in that sort of West Texas out there. And look, one of the places after we left Odessa, I know I'm skipping ahead here, but from horizon to horizon was wind farms. There's an unbelievable amount of cable work that comes with all of those, as you could well imagine. So it was really great speaking to Chris and Amy about that, and the kinds of trench sizes they have and the type of rock structure that they have there. But one thing that was very, very apparent, not just speaking with Chris, but it was brought up with while we were speaking with Chris and Amy, was about the backfilling. I had no idea that so many projects don't use padding machines. They're talking about, I think we're speaking mainly around sort of 2,000 feet a day was a production target for the pipeline crews, and that would be unheard of with that smaller size pipe, or what I call smaller size pipe anyway. These days it's what we used to do in Australia, a lot of the gathering networks there in the US, but self-loading padding machines like the skate paddies, I cannot believe there isn't more of them down there. I asked how are they currently doing it, and I got told they're doing it with a lot with padding buckets. Now, you're talking, instead of, you're going to turn 2,000 feet a day into 2 miles a day. That's the honest truth. So I really don't know why. I'm sure someone could probably answer it for me, but production is production, guys. It's what it's about. It was something that it blew me out of the water that we were talking about this, and I was thinking to myself, in my eyes, the US is the grandpappy of pipelines. So it was certainly something that we sort of went, well, man, we can certainly help some people in this region as well. It's not just, we're not just focused in our region over here. Helping people is helping people no matter where they are and where their background is. So look, if you're one of these companies working in that region and you really want to pump your production up, get in touch with us. This is what we do. This is what we're all about. We're about helping you guys kick some goals, make some money, and really cement your foothold about being different to that next person. So yeah, it blew me out of the water. But Chris and Amy, fantastic meeting you guys. I know you were having a bit of a down day and you didn't get many of them at the time. So look, really appreciate meeting up, and it was absolutely fantastic. As cold and as wet and sloppy as it was there, absolutely fantastic, guys. So we left there. Let me just get this up. Keeps going back into a sleep mode here. We left Chris. We got into Odessa. Now in Odessa we had basically a bit of a drive around. It's one of those areas that once you're there, you have a little bit of a feel around and see who's there, who's who in the zoo, as I like to call it, and just see how big the region is. It was my first time into Odessa itself, so it was quite an interesting place. It's it's kind of like the Surat Basin in Queensland on steroids, if you will. That's kind of the best way of describing it. It's like a Roma in Queensland on steroids. That's what it's like. We basically used Odessa as a bit of a base, and we went up to Kermit. We inspected a trenching machine up there, an old 1030 Trencor that Hoss put us in touch with. So that was a good little inspection. Old machine, but you know what, I don't mind the old machines so long as they're in tip-top condition. So that was quite interesting. There was another couple of machines we were meant to inspect, but they were out on jobs, so unfortunately we couldn't meet up with them or the owner. So look, that's how it goes sometimes. It's just it's a roll of the dice. When people need to work, they need to work. I get it. That's how that's what life is. Now, we also had someone, and this is the beauty of social media. We had Kyle from Ditchwich up there. Now, he just reached out. He saw that we were in the region on LinkedIn, reached out one morning. We were just about set to go, and we changed plans, diverted plans a little bit, and met up, had some breakfast with Kyle, and just shot the shit about trenching machines for a little bit, and what's happening in the region, what he thinks is happening. So that was really, really interesting. Great to get another perspective from another guy and build the network again, So you can't go wrong when you're building a network. When you just, putting yourself out there and you're going and meeting people and introducing yourself, but you're also introducing, you're listening to get their introduction as well, to know, how can you help each other. That's the best way that I can describe it. It's not a one-way street, it's always a two-way street. I know some people really love it being a one-way street, and there's a lot more of that in this part of the region where I am, but you're used to it, you get to know it, and you get to know, the right players to deal with, the wrong players to deal with, and the people who you will never deal with. I've met quite a lot of them in the last couple of years over here, unfortunately, but hey, that's how it goes. So that was really, really good. We had a great time down there. West Texas is it's just such a unique area. It really is. It's kind of like you go to Saudi, you go to the gas and oil fields in Saudi, and they're just a unique area. There's no other way to describe it. But it's not just heavily reliant on the oil and gas, which obviously it is, but there's a lot of beef out in that part of the world. There's a lot of wind farms as well. There is a ton of wind farms, but it's a big open area, and I'm sure in those plains they get a lot of consistent blowing wind out there. So good on them. Whatever works, I suppose. So that was really, really good. It was still just a desolate area, but we left Odessa. We went up to Denver in Colorado. Now, a couple of people said, a bit of a boring drive. Yeah, it is when you've done it multiple times. When you haven't, that New Mexico area, it was just so beautiful. We crossed sort of the northeast corner of New Mexico, and it's just such a beautiful part of the world. I just loved it. It was a really, really nice open area, not too many towns or anything like that you come through, so I really liked it there. We stopped in a Colorado Springs. That was beautiful. We only stopped there overnight and then got a bite to eat in the morning, but you could only imagine how beautiful that'd be in the middle of the ski season and all that. That was really, really nice to see. Into Colorado, Denver, Colorado, and had a fantastic meeting there. So look, we met up with a gentleman by the name of Rick Lai. Rick is the grandfather of the self-loading padding machines. I first met Rick in 2005, I think it was, in Italy, in Scapes Yard in Italy. That was before we bought the first. I don't know whether it was the actual first padding machine of Scapes to come to Australia, but anyway, it was one of the first, and saw and met Rick over there. I've met Rick a couple of times in Parma in Italy, but then I haven't seen Rick since probably 2007 would have been the last time that I saw Rick. and it was fantastic to meet up with him again, and like a couple of old mechanical style guys that get together, we all we could do was talk about equipment and new designs, and how each of us saw the industry moving forward with the padding machines, and what was new to try and overcome still some of the issues with padding machines, working with wet materials and things like that. So that was great. But more than this, I met Gianmarco and his brother Gianpaolo from Skate. Two young dynamos is the best way of describing them. Unfortunately, Gianpaolo couldn't make the trip over to the US, but it was fantastic to meet up with Gianmarco. We've had many Zoom meetings and calls and things like that. We're working on some new equipment together actually, which is really exciting. Can't wait till that stuff comes out, but which we will release in due time. But really great to meet up with Gianmarco, and I met his uncle back in 2005 when I first met Rick. Fantastic guy. So no, look, it was really good to catch up with those guys. We were talking about, not just the skate machinery, but also trying to, how can we help them set up some dealers and some networks for them around the world as well. So, or how we could just offer our advice on it more than anything else. I mean, I know that they've got their ideas and that, but if we can help them along the way, we'd love to do that. They're just really good guys. We left there. It was we sort of gave ourselves 2 days there, but after a day with Rick and Gianmarco, we'd covered everything that we needed to, so we ended up getting on the road. We left Colorado, and the snowstorm that we hit the next day in Nebraska into Iowa was, look, I've driven in some pretty bad conditions in my time, whether that be some flooded rivers, cyclones, all different kinds of things. I have never in my life driven in anything like that. It was a 10-hour trip if everything went to plan, turned into 14 and a half hours, and we went through 100% blizzard conditions. We passed over 30 semis that had jackknifed and spun off the road. We dealt with everything from the white blindness, if you will, off ramps. You couldn't even get off the off ramp. They couldn't even keep up with the ploughing on the actual roads and salting of the main interstate. Sheets of ice. We were doing back down to about 25-30 mile an hour, and just poking along, and some of the crazy driving that we saw out there, it's just it's no wonder that people have accidents. It really isn't. Like, I can't believe that there wasn't more than 30 semis off the road, to be quite honest. It was just insane, the driving that we saw. It kind of reminds me of this region here when it rains and no one knows how to drive in rain. But they know how to drive in the blizzards and the snow over there. So why they do it and why they drive like that without knowing the condition of the road and without knowing sheets of ice where they are, the black ice and things like that, just it blows my mind. But it was one of the most draining things that I've ever done on the road in my life. Unbelievable. But we ended up getting through that the other side of, or just before Des Moines in Iowa. From Des Moines we shot back to Ohio. So it was 11 days in total. We did 4,160 miles. Now get this, we hired no plugs for any motor cars or anything like that. I do like Toyotas. I just think they're just a great no-nonsense vehicle, super reliable. But we had a Toyota Camry. Wasn't a hybrid or anything like that. Traditionally in Australia, when I head back to Australia, I would always try and get a hybrid vehicle. So we got the Toyota Camry. Like I say, it was the new engine model there. I saw some information on it when they first brought it out. Something like 20% more efficient or something like that with their capabilities of their engines. I can attest to that. We did, like I say, 4,160 miles, and it cost us 200, and I think it was $220 or $240 in gas. That was it in fuel. Absolutely fantastic, unbelievable. To put that all into context, I mean, For the two of us, that would have been with the rental car. It was somewhere in the vicinity of under $900 for 11 days for the rental of the car and that. So, you know, although I didn't rent the car and go around like that just to try and save money or anything silly like that. I did it because I wanted to go old school, and I didn't want to put up the rubbish that they've got going on in some of these airports and some of these airline carriers and the rubbish that they go on with. But I did it because I wanted to have flexibility. Now that worked out to be like, to do all of that. Yes, we could have done it in shorter days, but the cost overall would have been a lot more. So, you know, yes, we spent a lot of time behind the wheel, but I should have said right from the start that it was Lindsay Bowie from Oryx Consulting. Lindsay and myself went on this trip, so you know, we did a lot of planning, a lot of strategic planning. We did a lot of, you know, spitballing around about what we can do with some of our content that we put out onto social media. We also spoke a lot about Lindsay's business as well. Now, OryxCare is, you know, Oryx Consulting is focused on the production of the construction, if you will, and equipment and preventative maintenance. Lindsay looks after people. She's the people side of it for the construction industry. So we call it, you know, the preventative maintenance of people. As much as you need preventative maintenance of your equipment to be a productive contractor, you know, you need the same preventative maintenance, if not more, for your people. Your people are your biggest resource. So that was something, and Lindsay's got some really good things, you know, coming out this year that we spoke about and kind of planned and all of that. So, you know, just because we were driving, it certainly wasn't wasted time by any means. It was some really great utilised time, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. You probably tell by this, I just love going on a good road trip, but also love meeting part of the network, meeting the different people that you know, in the different walks of life in the different areas, because everyone's got a story to tell, you know, and if you close your mouth and listen from time to time, you'll pick up some amazing things. So yeah, it was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The blizzard, hey, I could have done without that, but that's just part and parcel of being on the road, you know. It was no different to flying back here on January the 30th. We ended up in a blizzard in Chicago before I left. Plane had to be de-iced, the runway had to be cleared off, so, you know, it just doesn't matter whether you're on the road or on the runway, the outcome's still going to be the same. So I don't think that I missed anyone here. Let me just double check, but if I have, I really do apologise, but no, I think I've got everyone here on the list anyway. But it was a fantastic trip. There's, you know, the times have changed from when I left the US a little bit, somewhat, so everyone's a little bit apprehensive about what the future holds, but hey, that's normal. That's, you know, being in the oil and gas industry, that sort of situation normal for us. So the oil price is on the rise, which is always a positive and a bonus. So we'll see what happens there. But also too, I mean, even if a lot of the oil and gas kind of thing goes down, it won't be forever, you know. That's what I keep always trying to give people enough hope and enough knowledge that, you know, it's all cyclic, you know. What goes around comes around, it does, you know. So, but you also have to be you also have to be ready to pivot at any moment as well, and that's, you know, some of the conversations that we had with, you know, Jeff and Don with the trenches. They're selling as many now into, you know, the guys that do the wind farm kind of work. We spoke to some wind farm guys while we were in Austin, but unfortunately we couldn't meet because they were quite busy at the time. But you know, there's some good avenues to pivot if you're willing just to step out of your little comfort wheelhouse for a little bit and see what's out there, see what's on the horizon. So don't ever be frightened, don't ever be scared to try something a little bit different, because, you know, once you dig a trench, whatever you put in that trench needs to be backfilled. So, you know, there's a little bit of there is a lot of different techniques with different kinds of pipelines and underground power cables and all those kinds of things. But, you know, breaking ground is breaking ground, as I say. It's just an ability to pivot and move to one side. So it was a really good trip for us. Lindsay did an unbelievable job. She's she's the chief navigator, personal assistant, you know, and guru for all things travel. Lindsay, you know, hats off to you. You've done an absolutely fantastic job, as you always do when we travel. So you just make life so much easier doing those kinds of things. But also too, I wanted to do a huge shout out. I spent quite a bit of time in Ohio and with Lindsay's family, and you know, being with family around you know, Christmas, New Year's, things like that, it's so important when you can. And through 2020 has been one of those years that, you know, I'm sure a lot of people will still be scratching their head in years to come about what actually happened. But Lindsay's mum, Shelley, look, hats off to you. You looked after me like, you know, like family, and I thoroughly appreciate it. I really do. So from the bottom of my heart, everything that you did for me, the business that Shelley runs in northern Ohio, there in Fremont, out of this world. She has a party bus service, and honestly, I say it, Shelley's the hostess with the mostest. She really is. She had it was a Polar Express, I think it was called. Yeah, it was Polar Express. And it was basically to go around town and show all of the Christmas lights to all the kids and families and all these kinds of things. In one of her, she actually got both a lot of the two of the different party buses out there. But the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van that she had, you know, they put the Polar Express movie on for the little kids. They all got a little gift bag with a train whistle. I don't think she'll be doing that that next year. The train driver's hat and some cookies and some other bits and bobs. Blankets in the back for them. You know, you could bring your own drinks and whatever else you needed to on the bus, and then they just drive you around for 2 hours looking at all the party lights. Lindsay and I went out on one, and it was absolutely fantastic. It was like taking you back into your childhood again. You know, the Christmas lights wasn't a huge thing in Australia. Yes, we had them, but not to the extent that the people go to in the USA. It's just next level. It was absolutely fantastic, and hats off to all those people that took such an effort to do that. And it's, you know, it's for other people. They do it to make other people happy, and I'm sure themselves at the same time. But it's just the season for giving, and it really is, and it was fantastic. But look, I was treated like a king when I was there, and I can't thank Lindsay and her family enough. It was absolutely wonderful. And you know, to spend time with Lindsay's brother again, which I haven't seen for many years, that was fantastic. So a really good trip, well earned, I think after doing nearly 2 years over here without getting a little bit of a vacation in. It was good. It was a good break, and but it was great to get some work in while we were over there at the same time, and to see the opportunities. There really is so many opportunities in the US. It is a very lucky country. It's a very gifted country, no matter what's happening right now over there. That's a story for another day, but there is still opportunities there. There really is. So, you know, don't be disheartened if you are out there, because they're, you know, things move, things are cyclic, so it's going to be a wheel, it'll come back around again. So but there are opportunities right now, and there will be coming into the future. I firmly believe that. But if you are building pipelines over there as well, or putting cable in the ground for any of these wind farms or solar farms, get in touch with us. We're here to help you guys, and I can tell you right now, from what I saw driving around, there is some serious money to be made with people on how they are currently building their projects. Like, honestly guys, there is technology out there. Use it. You're only going to build more projects in a given year with less people and less machinery, and that's the honest truth. I will guarantee you that's what we'll be able to help you do. So look, if we can help you in any way, that's what we do. We're here to do that. But if you need someone to build a pipeline too, go get in touch with Benjamin and the team at Global Contracting. Honestly, salt of the earth kind of guys. So to everyone that we met on our trip, you know, Daniel, Hoss, Don, Jeff, who we got here, Kyle, Chris and Amy, you know, Andy, Jim, Gianmarco, Rick Light, look, from the bottom of our hearts, thanks for taking the time out of your day to meet with us and to shoot the shit and talk about all things pipeline, trenching and underground infrastructure. It was a pleasure. So that was a little bit of wrap up on what our trip was all about, or the working side of my vacation over there. So I hope you enjoyed it, and again, we're here to help you guys build a better project. So if we can do that, it would be our pleasure to help. So thanks very much, guys, until the next one, and look out for Lindsay Bowie, Oryx Consulting. Look, that gig of Lindsay's is really going to go places, and it's all about you, the people in the construction industry, and helping you guys from management all the way down to the workers, you know, better communication, anything to do to help your guys achieve greatness. And that's what it's really all about, you know, getting rid of all that negative energy, turning that back around, and getting good, hard working, productive crews together, you know. Not a team of all-stars, but an all-star team, as we like to say. So look out for Lindsay. Go follow her stuff on LinkedIn. She's putting out some really good content, and will be putting out some even better content this year again. So look, thanks very much, guys. Thanks for listening. I've waffled on enough, I'm sure. So until next week, stay safe, be good, and be productive. Ciao.